So here we go with a video about this Sabre Home Defense Impact Projectile Launcher. So some of them say Home Defense Projectile Launcher. This one says Impact because it doesn't come with the pepper rounds, but you can buy a version of this that comes with inert rounds, pepper rounds, and rubber rounds, I believe. But this came with just the inert rounds and some rubber rounds. I guess this would be like a California compliant version or something like that, even though I'm not in California. I just picked this one because it was a few dollars cheaper. So this, the reason I'm trying out this launcher now is because I've been paying attention to the comments, not just in my videos, but in other people's less lethal videos. And they've been saying, why is everybody talking about launchers that are so expensive lately? Everybody's covering the launchers that cost $400, $500, $600. Well, this one here I got for $144. And I was curious about them, but I wasn't familiar with the name Sabre until I started doing research online about pepper spray and pepper gel, and they're a very popular brand of pepper gel. This is Sabre Red pepper gel right here. This is what I carry in my sling bag. So they're really well known, but not so much in the less lethal world. I think this is only their first or second launcher, I'm not sure. And it had one feature that I didn't really like. I was not in love with the yellow. A lot of people aren't, but I think it's kind of growing on me a little bit. I like the fact that it's not black and won't be confused with a gun. So this is, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a good value. I think the normal price is $150 when they first came out. They've been out for over a year. So again, I'm late to the party, but I think this is an interesting launcher for several reasons, and it's just a damn good value. You're going to find out here. So on the package it says it has a magazine that holds 7 rounds. I don't have any other launchers that can hold 7 rounds. I've got ones that can hold 5 or 6, but not 7. And you can, like the Pistol X68, you can turn the launcher upside down, drop one in there, and then put your 7-round magazine in, so you'd have 7 plus 1. So you can have an 8-round launcher, which is really great. It says easy to use, handle, lightweight, no recoil, grip safety for faster deployment. So it does have a grip safety. Adjustable fiber optic sights. Yeah, adjustable sights. Most launchers, especially in this price range, are not going to come with any kind of adjustment to the sights. So that's interesting. One of the other features, fixed rifled barrel for better accuracy and consistency. Yeah, it has a rifled barrel. This is the only launcher that I have that isn't smooth bore. And I'll try and show you those. I'll try and show you that. But chances are I won't be able to focus on that, but we'll try. And it comes with, let's just take it out of the box. So one way you can tell this is a budget product is the outside packaging is fairly nice. It's okay. But then when you take it out of the box, it has the cheapest kind of plastic known to man. It's like, which I don't mind at all. I'd rather that they put the value into the launcher or into the accessories or whatever. I do not care that this is cheap plastic. I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me, especially when they're delivering this kind of value. So, like I said, it has a grip safety on the back right here. So, and it's very, very easy to actuate that grip safety. It's not like on a well, the only experience I have with the grip safety on a firearm is the Smith & Wesson equalizer, and you have to put considerable pressure on it. This is very, very easy to actuate. It takes very little pressure. You don't even notice it's there. But that's your safety. If you pull the trigger without actuating the safety, nothing happens. But when you have that, there's no, just to put your mind at ease, there's no ammo and no CO2 in here. But when you do actuate that safety and pull the trigger, click, then it actually works. But if you don't, the trigger, you can still pull the trigger, but nothing will happen. So those adjustable sights that I mentioned, there's a little Allen screw right there. And what you do is you move the rear sight up and down on this ramp, and that gives you elevation adjustment. So if you can see, there's kind of a little ramp there. So you loosen that Allen screw, and then you move this backward or forward to adjust your elevation. It does not have adjustment for windage anywhere, but you know, I'll take what I can get at this price point. This is pretty, we're doing pretty good here. Aesthetically, like I said, a lot of people don't like the yellow, but it's starting to grow on me, and I wish they would have not put fake slide serrations on there. I think that makes it look kind of cheap. I think this giant logo here makes it look kind of cheap. I wish they would have taken this more subdued or minimalistic S logo and just placed it up here somewhere and gotten rid of that Sabre logo entirely, and gotten rid of these painted fake slide serrations. I don't know why so many launchers have fake slide serrations. Some of them even put them up in the front and in the back. Just stop doing that. It's not a real gun. It's not a real slide. Stop trying to look like a real gun. But anyway, those are my only real gripes with this thing. Otherwise, I've been really pleasantly surprised. So let's take a look at this magazine. You'll notice this is quite different because it can hold the CO2 cartridge. You might be familiar with something like this from a BB gun or something like that, or I don't know. I'm not real familiar with BB guns, but what you do is you put your CO2 cartridge in there until it's just a little bit snug, and then it'll be ready to deploy that way. There's no puncture cap, there's no pull to pierce. You have to twist this, and that's a feature that I don't really like. So there's just to show you, I'm loosening it now, but you have to puncture that CO2, you have to twist that. Now you can do that before or after you insert it into the launcher. There's a valve here that keeps all the air from escaping. I'm not going to puncture it right now because I'm kind of low on CO2. And then the ammunition goes in here, obviously, and it has to release the ammunition. To release the ammunition, there's a small button up at the top. This little button right here. You push that. See how that popped out? So you push that, and under spring tension, all your rounds will fly out when you press that. So I like this magazine better than that Byrna design with this spring-loaded arm here, because this is harder to actuate than the spring-loaded arm. You're a little bit less likely. See how I'm tapping it and nothing comes out? Let me illustrate that a little bit better by putting a round in there. So I'll put a nice, easy to see green one in there. So when I tap this, it doesn't come out. It's not perfect. I mean, if I put intentional pressure on there, that's going to pop out. But it's better in my eyes than any of the Byrna magazine designs. Better in my eyes than the Pastel X68 design, but not as good in my eyes as the Salt Supply S2 magazine, where it has this little switch right here, or lever, whatever you want to call it, and you have to push that down, because this one is really hard to accidentally actuate that release, and you could throw one of these in your pocket, and I think those rounds aren't coming out until you make them come out. So this is pretty good as far as, you know. I still think that you wouldn't want to put this in your pocket. I think that would get actuated. So, but you could put this in a sling bag maybe if it's secured down by a strap or a loop or something, and I think you'd be okay. Maybe somebody makes some sort of snap-on cover or protector or something for these. I don't know, but this is much less sensitive than these spring-loaded arm designs. So I like the magazine, but I also don't like the twist to puncture feature, because it's just slow. It's if you need this in an emergency, and that's what these are for. These are self-defense or home defense devices. That's just going to add an extra second to actually getting your launcher in action. So I'm not in love with that. But I love that it has 7 rounds, that it holds 7 rounds, and you can put an 8th one in there. I like that it holds the CO2, so that every time you change, if you had a spare magazine, every time you change your magazine, you could have a fresh CO2 and get really good power out of every magazine. So I like that a lot. Let's see if I can show you a couple of things. I'm going to shine no, I don't want that. Shine a flashlight down the barrel to try and show you the innards. So this is actually a very, very light launcher. But when you look down in there, you see machined aluminum parts. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see in there, but there are 2 metal detents in there. That they're not aluminum. They look like they might be copper or something like that. I'm not sure. But they're kind of like 2 little springs. And those are metal detents. I don't know of any other launcher that I have at any price point that has metal detents. So that was a surprise to me. I knew it had a rifled barrel. Let's see if we can show that. So So I don't know if you can see down the barrel there, but there's some subtle rifling to it. It's not as pronounced as a firearm. It's not as, the grooves aren't as deep, but when you put your finger in there, you can definitely feel the rifling. And you can see it when you look down the barrel. So those are some great features. Adjustable sights, a safety, a grip safety, rifled barrel, holds 7+1. I mean, I bought this for less than 150 bucks. I think I paid 144, and you can get it on sale for cheaper than that. Sometimes I was just kind of impatient. I was just like, I want it now. But it was still on a bit of a discount. So what else do we have? Some of the stuff that it comes with. I said the packaging is cheap plastic, which is fine, especially since it comes with a lot of stuff. As you see, it comes with a couple of CO2 cartridges, and it came with 3 tubes of projectiles, 2 of the inert training projectile tubes. So if you bought the other version of this that they just call the home defense launcher or something like that, you'd get 1 tube of like pepper rounds or something, and then 1 tube of inert rounds, and then 1 tube of what they call impact rounds, which most people would call a kinetic round. They're just sort of a hard rubber type of round. I haven't used these. But I'm going to perhaps do a test with some of these inert rounds. I'm not all that interested in the pepper rounds, although this would make if you're interested in pepper rounds and they're available to you in your country or your state or whatever, this would make a really good pepper round or irritant round launcher. It's 68 caliber, so it would have a good payload, and as you're going to find out here, it has plenty of power to break any kind of pepper or irritant projectile, I think. But I'm going to do a test with these inert rounds in one of my coming up videos. So the extras that it comes with, the projectiles, the CO2, it comes with 1 magazine, it comes with your colored instruction book, which is actually pretty good, fairly informative, a limited 2-year warranty. That's pretty cool. The Byrna that I bought only had a 1-year warranty. This for $144, you're getting all this stuff, and it comes with a soft case. So if you don't want to put it back in the box, which I can totally understand because it's kind of fidgety and hard to get in and out of the box, you can put it in this thing, and then it's not something you would carry, but you would put it in here, and then there's 2 loops for projectiles, 2 loops for CO2s, and that's just a nice little bonus. I don't know how much I'm going to use it, but none of my other launchers came with this, especially around this price point. It also came with something that no other launcher that I have came with. It came with a target. And I know that's just a piece of paper. How much could that possibly cost? But yeah, that's a nice little bonus. And then it came with an Allen wrench for adjusting those sights. So there's a little tiny Allen wrench in there in the bag for the target. And it's a sizable target. It's plenty big. So you get quite a bit of stuff for $144. It seems to be a really good value. Now, one thing I will say about this is that it is big. Some might say too big. Let's get rid of that ammo. So, take a look at my hand when I insert the magazine. Now, not only can I get all 3 fingers on there, but if I had 7 fingers, they would all fit. I mean, with the magazine inserted, holy crap, there's a lot of space on here. And it's large around as well. So, if you have really, really small hands, this might be uncomfortable for you because it's the grip is quite large. If you have large hands, no problem then. But if you have really, really small hands, this might not be the one for you. So it's hard to show the size. I mean, I can compare it to my hand, but let's compare it to like some other launchers, like another launcher that's in its price range. This is the Umarex HDP50 Gen 2. So if you put them butt to butt, you know, I mean, look at it in this perspective. Do you see how much thicker the Sabre is than the HDP? But that's partially because this is 68 caliber and we're comparing it to a 50 caliber, so it's not a fair comparison in thickness. But these are about the same price. I paid $150 for this, and it's only 13 joules, whereas the manual states that this one is 18.2 joules. We're going to talk about some more kinetic energy information here, but let's also compare it to another, what I would consider kind of a budget launcher that is of, this is the Salt Supply S2. This is $230 without this light here. And this doesn't come with extras for $230. If you want the version that comes with extras, you have to shell out a bit extra. It's close to $300 to get it with a case and a few projectiles and things. But I didn't think that was worth it. I just got the super cheap version that just comes in a cardboard box like this. And all it comes with is a manual and a little tool for ejecting the ammunition from the top here. Now, this costs more. It has a similar amount of power, but it only holds 5 rounds in that magazine. Yes, I like the design of the magazine, but it only holds 5 rounds. And you can do the thing where you load up 5, insert it, then you've got 1 retained in the firearm, then you put another one in there and put it back in, and then you've got 5 plus 1. So, in my mind, this is perhaps a better value. I don't know that this is... I can't speak to the reliability of this because I've only fired 4 or 5 magazines through it so far, but it has functioned flawlessly so far. But I can't really speak to the reliability of well, really either one of these, but everybody claims that these are quite reliable. I've heard a lot less about the Sabre. There seems to be a little bit less content, less information out there about this launcher. And maybe that's just because I was kind of avoiding this launcher for a long time, because I didn't like the yellow, and I saw the price and I thought, I wasn't familiar with Sabre. Now I am. Now I understand. They've been around for a while. They make good quality pepper spray and pepper gel, and they're well known. But they just weren't well known to me in the less lethal world. But let's see. Let's talk about the. I mean, it seems well built, although it does seem very light. This is only slightly heavier than my Berna CL. Just slightly. Like when you pick it up, you will be surprised for its size how light it is. Even though all the internals, they're well made, machined aluminum, all metal in there. But they kept the weight down somehow, which is a good thing in my mind. But it kind of gives it I'm not going to say a feeling of cheapness, but it's not as confidence as inspiring as when you pick up even the HDP50. This has a nice weight to it. Even though it's an inexpensive launcher, it has a reassuring weight, especially through this whole part of the weapon. It feels solid, even though it's just injection molded plastic, just like this. And this also has a reassuring weight to it. And you know, weight, it doesn't equal reliability, but it does kind of tell you, it doesn't equal reliability, but it does kind of weigh on your mind a little bit. When you pick this up, you're like, is this thing gonna break when I drop it? I don't know. But it's the plastic is quite thick, you know, it's not poorly made. Oh, one other feature that I didn't mention, it has a little port up here in the top. It's kind of a witness hole where you can see if there's a round in the chamber there. And then it's big enough, I think, if it somehow got stuck in there, that you could put something in there and pop it out. Kind of like on the Soul Supply S2, it has a little hole on the top. So that's a nice little feature too. It has good features, good value. Now, so one of the reasons that I say this is such a good value is because of the kinetic energy that it actually puts out. I said the owner's manual claims 18.2 joules. And it really depends on, for me, I've only tried 2 different types of ammo, and it made a pretty significant difference. So I tried these white ones. These are the Umarex QAB glass breaking polymer balls. These are only 3.59 grams. And then I also tried these green ones that are 5 grams, and I don't know who makes them, where they came from, because I got these when I bought a used launcher. If I knew where to get more of these, I would buy more. I've searched on Amazon. Amazon has all kinds of different ammo that you can get in 68 caliber. These ones, I think, are a better fit to this barrel. I think they're a little tighter in there, plus they weigh a little bit more. So when I tried these QABs, my numbers were The first shot was 17.7 joules, and my seventh shot was 12.7 joules. So a little bit less than what the manual states with these rounds. Now when I tried these, I was getting my first 3 shots, 21.2 joules, 19.8 joules, and 19 joules. And I fired 8 of them. My 8-shot average was 16.9 joules out of 8 shots. That's pretty damn good for $144. So I think I'm quite surprised by this. I did not, I mean, that's the same, that's similar power to what you get out of a Salt Supply S2. And this is significantly more expensive. The only thing, this would be so good if it had a better or just quicker method to puncture that CO2. If it didn't have this turn to puncture mechanism here, I would seriously consider putting this in my bad guy bag. It's very light, so it's not going to weigh you down very much. But it's just so, that just makes it so slow to deploy and get into action. In an emergency, your fine motor skills are going to go out the window, so using your fingertips, and you might get confused. Which way do I turn it? And it's a little bit fiddly, and under heavy stress, this could be an issue. But these types of puncturing methods, where you just smack it, that's more of a gross motor skill. It's not a fine motor skill where you have to, you know, turn it manually and things like that. You can, even if you're, if you don't have 2 hands free, you can smack it on something solid. This is definitely a 2-handed operation. There's no way to do this with 1 hand. So if it didn't, that's the Achilles heel here. If it didn't have this twist to puncture function, I would say this is the best value out of just about anything out there. I mean, yes, I'd like to see a little more power, because with kinetics, 20 joules isn't going to stop a determined attacker. But this could be a really good irritant launcher for pepper, OC, CS, whatever kind of irritant that you can get in 68 caliber. I think this would be great. But then again, it's just this twist to puncture function that I don't like. So that's what's going to keep it out of my bad guy bag. I do like, I think it's a great value though. I mean, it comes with extras and features that you can't get at any price point. Adjustable sights, or sight, rifled barrel, grip safety, 7-round +1. That's really great. It's really quite a good value, I think. So if you're in the market for something like this, they market it as, the reason they market it as a home defense launcher, let's see, home defense projectile launcher, is because of this. Apparently they think that during a home invasion you'll have a couple of seconds to figure this out, whereas if you're carrying it on your body and you have to pull it out in an emergency, this is going to be an issue. I don't know about that logic. I think you're going to be if you have to pull this out, it's going to be an emergency, and you're going to need speed no matter what. So that's the only thing keeping me from putting this in my rotation and putting it in my bad guy bag. But other than that, I think it's just such a good value. And I'm quite surprised by it. I'm pleasantly surprised, because I've bought launchers for a lot more money than this, and they didn't come with all these extras and features. So I'm gonna give this a thumbs up, and yeah, I just think it's a real good value, and you should check it out if you're in the market for something like this. In my mind, it beats the Umarex HDP50. I mean, this only carries 6 50-round projectiles in an internal magazine. Here, you can buy extra magazines. And yes, you'll still have to pierce to puncture, but you can have extra magazines, tighten it just enough so that it's snug, and put that in there, twist it real quick, and you're good to go. But you know, there's pros and cons to every launcher. This one's not the perfect one. I haven't found the perfect one yet, but I'm not going to stop looking. And I'm glad that I tried this one out, even though there are some things I didn't like about it, but it surprised me. It really did. So this one gets my recommendation. And I just think it's a really good value, and we'll see about reliability. Those metal detents that I mentioned, that to me seems to be something that wouldn't wear out as quickly, and they appear to be replaceable. I don't know where you would buy parts for this, because this isn't that popular of a launcher, but I saw a teardown on YouTube where somebody took the launcher apart, and it appeared that with one screw on either side you could remove those metal detents and possibly replace them. So that's great. You know, even the Pistel X68 has 2 little plastic balls for detents that are going to have to be replaced. Yes, they're easy to replace, but they're going to need to be replaced. So this is a surprising mix of features that I recommend. So if you have the inclination or the need for something like this, go for it. It's inexpensive, it's fairly high quality. Give it a shot, see what you think. So that'll do it. Thanks for watching.